Welcome back to Sports Around the 313 with Triple G 2017. Let's start out by reviewing my Christmas wish list to see how I made out on that. I made a Christmas wish list on my last episode, and we'll take a look at and review some of the things I talked about on my wish list and see if either they came true or maybe they will down the road. Let's start off with the Detroit Lions. On my wish list, I wanted the Lions to beat Green Bay, which they didn't, and win the division, which they didn't, and make it into the playoffs. Well, they did make the playoffs, but they only got to the first round, and Seattle beat them and bounced them out. So obviously, Triple G didn't get his wish on the Lions. Let's take the Tigers. Okay, now this is a work in progress because when I talked about my wish list for the Tigers, I talked about the Tigers not getting rid of and dumping all their talent to save some money this year and get to the postseason. So what they did is they did trade Cameron Maybin. But after that, which I was not happy about, they decided to pull back and keep the existing team and not try to trade Verlander and Cabrera and J.D. Martinez and keep all those guys together and try to better the team and keep it and make a run for the playoffs this year. So maybe I got one on for my wish list there. The Red Wings. Okay, I said to them to figure out how to score some goals because they hadn't been scoring goals. They hadn't even been winning. They were so far to the playoff race that I didn't even think they'd have a chance. But now they're starting to creep back in. I think the last 5 or 6 games, they've at least come away with a point or two in each one of those games, and they're starting to score some goals. So I'm hoping and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this Christmas wish list comes true and the Red Wings do make the playoffs. All right, let's get to the Pistons. Okay, I talked about asking Stan Van Gundy to put Ish Smith back in the starting lineup and to pull Reggie Jackson out because I didn't think Reggie Jackson was ready to come back from his injury. Well, you know what? It looks like he is starting to develop now and come back, and the Pistons have won a few in a row. All their West Coast trip was 2 out of 5. So they've got to learn to play together a little bit better, but I'm thinking they're close right now. They're only a few points behind some of the playoff teams right now. I think they can make it into the playoff teams if they make a good push here in the second half of the season. Let's talk about U of M. On my wish list, I asked for U of M to win the Orange Bowl and beat Florida. Well, if you follow sports, you know that they did not win that game. It was close. They made it a game, but they didn't beat Florida. And I want them for next year to come back and make the 14 playoffs and have a better year and win the Big Ten championship. Now, MSU, this is a split here because their football season stunk. It's over with. They tanked on that one. But their basketball team, they're not doing much better right now either. So I'm hoping, maybe for next year, this is a wish list for next year for basketball, football at Michigan State, that they'll come back and do it. And now I want to talk about Dave Birkett. Dave Birkett's a Free Press sports writer. He comes up this week with a year-end Detroit Lions awards. This is his awards. This is what he feels are the awards that are handed out by him before the actual Lions give out the awards. So I want to say, do I agree or I disagree? Because he challenged people to see if they saw his side of the story, agreed with his players or his choices. So let's start off with his Lions MVP for this past year. He picked quarterback Matt Stafford for the MVP. You know what? I agree with him on that. I don't have to go into all the statistics. If you watch the Lions football team this year, Stafford brought him back 8 times from being down. It gave him those victories. I think he's the MVP. Let's go with Offensive Player of the Year. Now, he picked Stafford again. I disagree on this one, and let me tell you why. I think it should be a co-Offensive Player of the Year award. Co meaning 2 different players. I think Stafford should get it, but I also think that Golden Tate, the receiver for the Lions, should also be co-Offensive Player of the Year. He had 1,077 yards and 90 catches this year. I think that should put him right up there with Matt Stafford. Without his catches and some of the ones he made this year, the Lions wouldn't be where they were, okay? Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, he picked cornerback Darius Slay. I agree. I mean, again, he made 2, 3, or 4 different plays in different games this year that if it wasn't for those plays, Lions wouldn't have won those games. So Defensive Player of the Year, I agree with him on that. Let's talk about Special Teams Player of the Year. He picked kicker Matt Prater. And you know what? I agree with him. Again, Prater made, 5 or 6 kicks this past year, the season, where they were over 50 yards. And without his kicks and his field goals, we wouldn't have won those games. So let's say I agree with him on that one. Special teams. Rookie of the year. Okay, he picked offensive tackle Taylor Decker, who came from Ohio State. I think he was our 16th pick in the first round. I agree with him there too. Taylor Decker played every minute, every snap, every play on the left-hand side, and he protected Matt Stafford. As the season went on, he learns from his mistakes. I think he's going to be a good one there. He's going to be a mainstay to keep Stafford on his feet. Okay, most improved player. All right, this is his pick was defensive end Kerry Hyder. Now, before the season started, did you even know who Kerry Hyder was? I didn't, and then I watched him in the preseason, and all those preseason games, he was making tackles. Who is this guy? He probably won't be around. Well, he was around. He stuck the whole year, and because Ziggy Ansah was injured most of the year, he came on strong. I think he had 8 sacks. So I agree, most improved player, defensive end, Kerry Hyder, and I hope he has a better year next year. Now, we have a most disappointing player. This was offensive guard Lakeland Tomlinson, second-year player out of Duke. He said that this was the most disappointing player. He fell off. He got replaced in the starting lineup a couple times, and I agree with them on this as well. So, you know, I other than the one co-offensive player with the wide receiver and the quarterback getting that, I agree with him on everything. Okay, I just want to pull back a little bit and end my show with my sincere sympathy and condolences go out to my cousin Denise and her family. They had a loss in their family this week. Their dear youngest daughter, Caitlin, this past week passed away. Caitlin was only 23 years old. I want to tell you, Denise, stay strong for the family. And again, my condolences and my sympathies from my family to your family as well. That's my take. Now get the hell out of here. You gotta lose your mind with Detroit.